you want to know my opinion on what I think, just keep on watching. Hey guys, what's good? It's your girl Nisi here and I'm back with a new video. And in today's video, guys, I'm bringing you another dating disaster. I have done like dating horror stories, so if you've not seen those videos, do check it out and I'll link it at the end of this video. But yes, guys, in today's video, they're both to blame. It's not just all on the woman and it's not all on the man. So basically, a quick backstory. A woman's been speaking to this guy on socials. He didn't officially confirm the date. They spoke the night before, but they didn't say like, are we still good for tomorrow? And your girl is currently in a dating scene, so I've had this happen to me. But basically, we're going to a restaurant, but the man didn't book reservations, so they turn up, and then the waitress is like, it's going to be like a 40 minutes to 50-minute wait. And this woman has drove 40 minutes to meet this guy and go to this restaurant. So can you imagine getting there and then you've been told you've got to wait an extra 40 minutes? It's just like, bruh, like, come on. As you already know, people have been dragging this woman. She is on the plus size, so people are calling her a big back and you were just there for the food. Because, he was saying, okay, 40-minute wait's cool. We can walk around the mall, get to know each other more. And she was like, absolutely not. I'm gonna roll this clip and it is lengthy, but she's breaking it all down and I will be back with my commentary.
So I just got into a fight with my date and I just left. So, long story short, I met a guy on the app like a week ago and we've been like talking on the phone a couple days this week. We agreed to meet up today, Friday at 7:30. I didn't hear from him today. The day of the date. We talked last night for like 10 minutes, but I didn't hear from him today. And I'm an anxious attachment girly. So, I need some reassurance today of like, especially for a first date. We've never met in person before. We met online. So I was like, I need to know that we're still going. So I'm trying to get out of my own way. So I text him, even though I didn't want to. I text him and I'm just like, hey, we're still going. Haven't talked to you today. So, I want to make sure we're, still on. And he's just like, oh yeah, it's been a busy day. I can call you right now. And I'm just like, oh no, that's good. Like, I really appreciate it. That was a green flag to me that he, was like, oh no, it's just been busy. I can catch up with you right now. And so that was a green flag for me. But, I ended up getting ready. And I was running a few minutes behind and I just told him, after I had sent that text, like, I have a 40-minute drive. So I just wanted to make sure. And that's important. So hold on to that. So I get ready. I'm a few minutes late. 7:30 we were supposed to meet up. 7:35 was about my ETA. So I'm communicating the entire time. I want to be the communicator that I want. I want people to communicate with me a certain way, so I communicate with them that way. So I'm communicating with him the whole time. He says he's there. I said, okay, I'm gonna be there I'm pulling up in 5 minutes. I'm about to get off the highway. So then he tells me, oh, we have a 35-minute wait. We can go walk around the mall. Y'all are gonna be pissed off at me probably, but I did what I did. I end up just telling him like, well, at first I was just like, I called him and I'm literally like pulling up if you're in the DMV area, I live in Baltimore County. We met up in Arundel Mills. So I'm pulling up and it's a complicated parking situation. And I'm just like, why was there no reservation made? Oh, I've been here multiple times. I never had to make a reservation. It's Friday. They're busy. It's a restaurant. Like, he's just like super aloof, just like, it's no big deal, whatever. And I'm just like, I drove 40 minutes. It is the evening. I am not interested in walking around the mall, like, while we wait another 40 minutes for our reservation. Like, and so I'm just like expressing my frustration to him and just saying like, like I feel a little silly right now because I just drove a really long way and like you didn't even make a reservation. And so he's just like, well, just park, just get situated. Like, we'll, like, it's not that, basically just saying like, it's not that big of a deal. And I'm just like, It kind of is though, because I just drove a really long way and I just like, I feel a little played right now. And I'm just like, you know what? Let me take a beat. I was like, I think I'm not, I told him straight up, I'm not going to be a good date to you. I was like, I'm not really happy that I drove all this way and that like I have to wait 40 more minutes. And I was like, I'm just going to take that time and go back home. So I know y'all gonna probably think I was snobby for that, but I'm sorry. We can blame it on me being hangry or whatever, but I'm just like, I know myself and like, we're already in the negatives. There's no reason for me to sit here and wait with this man knowing that I'm not going to give him a fair chance. I know myself. I said, let's just reschedule. I was like, I'm sorry. I'm just really frustrated about this. So he ends up, I hadn't even parked at that point. So I turned right back down around and give him the highway. And so he calls me and he's just like, well, I'll come to you. I'll drive 40 minutes to you. And, where can we go in your area? So half of me is like, okay, I appreciate the fact that you're trying to make this even. But also now I got to come up with some plans. And we're still probably going to have to fucking wait. In my, I live in the suburbs, but still, like, so I'm like, I recognize that I'm frustrated in the moment, and I'm just like, let me take a beat for a second. Let me just like, I'm getting back on the highway. Let me just think for a second and figure out what my next plan is. Cause I'm fully dressed, makeup on, whatever. And I'm just like, let me take a beat for a second. And so, I'm thinking about just saying, you know what? He's saying that he wants to come all this way. I got a couple spots that I know that we can go to, but like, I just need to take a minute to like cool off. So I was going to just be chill about it or whatever. Then he presses the issue and it's like basically trying to chastise me for being upset. And that's when I was just, I lost it because I'm just like, he was basically like, oh, well, if I had made a reservation and the restaurant was busy, what would you have done? And yeah, I was just like, are you being for real right now? If you made a reservation, we wouldn't have had to wait. If we had a reservation, that is the whole point of the reservation. And I was like, you're not being accountable. And now I'm actually getting mad. Like I'm actually getting angry because like, instead of just saying, hey, we crossed wires. I didn't think there was a reservation needed. Let's try to figure something out. Like, instead of just leaving it at that, now you're trying to act like I'm wrong for being upset. And like, it's not that big of a fucking deal. I really was going to accept his alternative, right? And cause I'm really, really trying to like be a better human and a better girly, but I consider myself a reasonable person for the most part, but I just could not fucking believe you're sitting here trying to act like, well, what's the big deal? We would have had to wait anyway. No, we wouldn't. That's not the point of the reservation. And so now I'm just like, listen, sir, I'm not trying to get into it with you about this. We can just plan something for another day at this point. Cause again, I'm not going to be a good date to you tonight. I'm really getting upset now. And so like, he starts like laughing, like, well, what? I just don't get it. Like, and I said, so now it's funny to you. I went off the deep end. I'm like, so now it's funny to you. Now it's funny to you that I'm upset about this. So I was just like, you know what? You ain't even got to worry about me because now you just not being accountable at this point. And now I'm really pissed off. Before, we could have just called it up as a miscommunication, cross wires, whatever. But now I'm pissed off because now you're like damn near making fun of the situation or like acting like I have no reason to be mad. Well, we would have had to wait anyway. Like, no, take your L and just... I just got interrupted because he just called again. I'm not answering. But then like after that, when I'm just kind of like, you know what? I'm actually good on this whole situation because I don't appreciate the fact that you're like not even taking accountability at this point and you're like making it seem like it's a problem that I'm upset in the first place. So I'm just like, I'm good on this, enjoy your night. So he ends up texting me, and I'm going to put the text on here, but he ends up texting me basically like, well, you actually have a right to be angry, but I I think you took it too far. And then he sends me a screenshot. I was like, see, the reservation is ready now. Like, see what I mean? Like, see, you're making it a big deal. And then he says again, well, if there was a reservation and they were busy, we still would have had to wait. No, we wouldn't. Do not fucking gaslight me. Just say, take the L. Just take the L. Like, I really was going to give him a chance, but it is what it is at this point. I look cute. I am just gonna grab something that's already ready made at the grocery store. It is what it is. Like, maybe I'll record some content for y'all, but I'm about to take my ass back in the house. I'm already back on my side of town. He did just call me again. I don't want to talk. And at this point, it's really nothing to say because it's the lack of accountability for me at this point. So this would have been my first date of 2025. I have been dating a lot this year, but they have not been first dates. But this would have been my first date of 2025, and it was a bust. So yeah, I guess we'll just try again next week. So I just got into a fight with.
Yeah, guys, you just heard that. That is crazy. Oh my gosh, where do I start? See, they both were wrong. In my eyes, they were both wrong. This year, I made reservations for my birthday, went to a popular spot. It was busy, busy, busy. I went on a Saturday. Guess what? I still had to wait, even though I made reservations, even though it was a table for 3 people. When we got there was nowhere because they sat us at the bar. Because they want you to spend that coin. So they sat us at the bar and we ordered drinks. But we were waiting for a good 20 to half an hour. And it's just like, shout out to that black waiter because it was an Indian spot and they had that one black worker. He came over and like, you lovely black ladies, are you okay? Like, have you been served? And we've literally just been told by a short Indian man, sit here and wait. And he patterned us. So big up to that waiter. But we had to wait 20 minutes, even though I had reservations. So he is right. If a restaurant or an establishment is busy, it is what it is, with reservations or not. Reservations help and it secures your spot, but sometimes it depends how popular the spot is. You still have to wait. So he is right. And she's like, don't gaslight me. I'm just trying to think of all the places I've been. When I've booked reservations, we've never just walked in and sat down. They usually sit us down, they tell you you can order drinks or you can order starters, but you never get your table like that. Every city, every town's different. If you go to a smaller town or a smaller state, then you know what I mean? Maybe where she's from, you can, once you make reservations, you can go in soon. But places where I've been in Manchester, you can't just go in like that. So he is right. But I agree with her. It's just the wires were crossed. I feel like they don't understand each other, and that's the whole point of dating. You're getting to know each other, but not him saying, "Oh, it's not that big of a deal, sir." For us females, we get our hair done, nails did, eyelashes, makeup, the outfit, the heels. When I go on dates, I'm wearing heels because your girl's short. Yeah, I'm very petite. I don't want to be walking like no 20 minutes. I know they could have just sat, like, found a bench, sat down, talked, got to know each other, but the way he was just like, let's just walk around the mall. Absolutely not, because I'm gonna have my heels on. You know what I mean? I like to do shoe cam. Wendy Williams, when she used to do it on her show. So when I go out, you know what I mean? I got my cute heels on, so no, I do not want to be walking. So for him to just be like, yeah, come, let's just walk around the wall in the minute. No. And like she said, she's just drove 40 minutes and then she's got to drive 40 minutes back. And then it's the wait. Like, I get why she's pissed off because, yo, I'll be pissed too. I hate driving to far new locations and then the thing that you're there for, you can't even do it. You know what I mean? But I did like how he tried to make it up, and he was like, you know what? Next time I'll come to your side. I'll drive 40 minutes. You know what I mean? So it's fair. I feel like they both should have met in the middle. You know what I mean? No way she should be driving 40 minutes. I'm sorry, not sorry. Just to be in his side of town, like they should have met somewhere in the middle. And then I don't know, just sometimes you just need to walk on like a high street and just look at like an establishment or a restaurant or a bar and it's like, should we try here? And it's like, yeah, you know what I mean? So it's new for both of you because, like she said, if he's coming to her town, then he's like, what's fun to do in your city? And now she's like, well, now I've got to plan the date. You know what I mean? So maybe they should have just met somewhere in the middle and just looked and seen what's up. You know what I mean? Google is free. You can look to see what restaurants are popping. Obviously, read the reviews. I love reading reviews because you know what I mean? You don't want to be going to no 1-star restaurant. You know what I mean? Or Yeah, this is crazy. It was very lengthy, but just the whole back and forth, and then he's ringing and texting her, she's not answering because she's too busy doing a story time. Listen, for anyone that's watching this video, you remember that woman that came out when she was like, I was just asked on a coffee date and I declined it. Why does this girl look very similar? I'll put the thumbnail of that video. They look very similar. I was just like, girl, is this you? Asked on another date and now it's gone wrong. Like, but yeah, I love these dating stories because your girl is currently dating, and yeah, just some of the things that people go through is crazy. But yeah, let's get into some people's reactions.
Just watched this lady's video, and she was talking about how she met this guy online, and they've been talking all week and basically plan to go on a date. Now, to me, the first red flag is the date. They have been talking up until the day of the date. And the day of the date, she said she hadn't heard from him all day, like, and she wanted some reassurance, like she that type that needs that reassurance. And he's like, oh, like, no, we're still on, like, it's just a busy day, which she said she understood. So she was 40 minutes away from their date, so she drove 40 minutes. He was there, and I guess he had told her, like, hey, there's a 35 to 40 minute wait. After that, like, she had just arrived, she said parking was difficult, and she said that threw her for a loop because why didn't he make reservations? He was like, no, like, just park, we could just walk around, and walk around the mall until our reservation time. She didn't want to do that. She turned all the way around, drove 45 minutes home because he did not make reservations. People were commenting like, oh my god, like, you could have used that time to get to know him, blah blah blah. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say she wrong, because me, I am a reservation girly. I am very intentional. Like, when me and my man go on dates, I make the reservations. I remember for him. I know a man can't do everything in the world, but me, I am a planner. I'm the reservation person. I do all of that because I'm very intentional about it. So I get it. I get it. People expect that, and that's okay. You can expect reservations. Like, it's not like crazy to be like expecting a reservation. That's common. I feel like that's common courtesy when you're dating someone, and grown people shit, you schedule reservations. Some was just saying that she could have used that time to get to know him and stuff, and she was like, I just didn't want to do that. Like, and I get that as well, because yes, if you are just meeting someone and things happen, he said he had a busy day, maybe he just forgot, that's possible, people are human. So you could have used that time to get to know him. I'm on both ends. Like, there's no right or wrong. What y'all think?
Yeah, shout out to her, and I agree with her 100%. I can see it from both sides, and I agree with both. Like, no one's wrong in this. She's feeling some type of way, but just the fact that she did a U-turn and drove all the way back home, like, she's wasted petrol, makeup. Again, I don't know if she went out and bought a new outfit. That's what I'm thinking about. Could she have just allowed it? But she did state she wouldn't be a good date for the rest of the night. That's me. Once you've pissed me off, it's a chop. So I like that she was honest with him, and it's like, you know what? I'm not gonna be a good date, so let me just go home. I'm the same. Once you've pissed me off or I'm feeling some type of way, there's no point. You know what I mean? You don't want to be sat at the dinner table and you're just screwing, or you're huffing and puffing, rolling your eyes, because then he's gonna be like, "What's up?" You know what I mean? You don't want, especially for your first date, like you've never met before. But I do get it from his side. Like, they could have just sat down somewhere and just got to know each other. But everyone's different in it. She was like, I don't want to do that. Again, she was, flying 40 minutes. He reached and she's like, I'm just pulling up. So, the timing was good because she could have had him waiting. But then to be told, yeah, it's a 20-minute wait, and it's just like, bruh. Now, when they tell you it's going to be around 20, that's an estimate. Sometimes it can be shorter, sometimes it can be longer. You know what I mean? With them going back and forth, he did say that the reservations, that it's done now. But she was, she did a U turn. She was already on her way home. So, yeah, I agree with her. And I agree when she said when she books dates, she books reservations. So do I. I do not want to be disappointed. Especially, if it's a weekend, Friday, Saturday, even Sunday, it's gonna be busy. They're gonna be booked out, reservations or not. So I'm with her. If I'm booking a date, trust me, I'm making reservations because I don't want to be disappointed and I don't want to let you down. Because it's just a waste if you're driving public transport. It's a waste on both. You know what I mean? Both sides.
Okay, so the girlies are eating this lady up because she went on this date, right? Well, actually, she didn't go on the date. She planned a date with a man. She drove 40 minutes to the dates, got in the parking lot, found out it was going to be a 35-minute wait. He said, hey, let's walk around the mall. She said, that absolutely not. I'm going home. You didn't make a reservation. It's Friday night. It's busy. Like, what do you think? She said, let's reschedule. I'm not even going to give you a fair shot because what the heck? He's like, let's walk around the mall. She's like, absolutely not. But the girls are eating her up for not going on that date. I see where she's going, but I don't really know, man.
Yeah, she told no lies. Listen, getting research for this video, I had to jump in the comments and see what I go on. Listen, the way people were dragging this woman, and even on YouTube, people have done reaction videos and they're calling her big back, and she was just there for the free food. Like, people are dragging this woman. Everyone's got standards and everyone puts up with different things in it, and she just wasn't putting up with this. Like, listen, no reservation, no date. And a lot of other girlies are agreeing with her, and then there's some again all up in the comments. One person in the comments was like, listen, it was a red flag from when you drove 40 minutes. Yeah, I don't think I'm driving no. Obviously, you're not just driving for him, you're driving for the restaurant. But I agree, I don't think I'm driving 40 minutes to go and meet a guy. Absolutely not. So yeah, again, petrol in today's climate, the cost of living, petrol, and after all that, you don't even get to go on the date. Or imagine driving 40 minutes and then the date's trash. They actually sat down, he was rude, or you know what I mean, he was obnoxious. And then you're just deeper like, I drove 40 minutes for this man. Like, absolutely not. I'm sorry. If you both live far, you have to meet in the middle. Sorry, not sorry.
So I just got into a fight with my date and I just left.
So, quick rundown, this woman met a guy on a dating app. They scheduled a date and she ended up meeting up with him and then deciding she did not want to go on the date. Her main reason for not wanting to go on the date with him was mainly because he did not set up a reservation. Also, the day of the date, he did not really confirm with her. She had to reach out to him to confirm. And people in the comments are disagreeing with her and saying it's her fault. I think objectively in this situation, it's really all on the guy. Yes, she was 5 minutes late to the date. That's another element of this. But also, bro never texted her in the morning to reassure her that they were going on a date. And he didn't even set up a reservation. There was a 35-minute wait. This is a first date. I know that you can also still be sat later even if you do have a reservation, but with no reservation, having to wait 35 minutes on a first date, just sitting there awkwardly, is not fun. And if you're someone like her who admits you have an anxious attachment style, someone like that who is not going to give you reassurance, someone like that who is not a planner, is probably not going to be for you. I think the bare minimum is if you're going to ask someone on a date, bro, you could have set up a reservation. That is the most bare minimum low bar thing that you could do.
Yeah, shout out to him. I love hearing from like the male's perspective, and he's like, it's the man's fault. Again, both of them are wrong. She was slightly late, and again, she did state that she had to reach out. I don't know who, because they've been talking on socials. I don't know whose idea this was. I'm guessing it was the guy. So, like he said, the bare minimum you could have done is just make reservations. I remember back in the day with me and my bestie, a male bestie, we went to Nando's and we were just waiting for time. When you don't know a person, obviously me and him can talk, catch up, but when you don't know a person, you end up just being on your phone. Like, obviously, you can be like, hi, I'm da 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 da. You can talk about yourselves a bit, but then it does get to that awkward stage and you might just start being on your phone and talking to your friend. And yeah, it's only becomes unawkward when the waitress comes up and it's like, oh, your table's ready. And it's like, yeah, I can't wait to order food. I can't wait to eat. You know what I mean? And then obviously you can talk about the foods on the menu, what's your favorite drinks, you know what I mean? But I definitely agree with him. Like, it can get awkward. And like she says, she is an anxious girl there. I just think the wires were totally crossed, the red and blue wires, and they just seem very different. He's just like, why are you making a big deal? And she's like, I'm not. Like, when you're upset, you can't tell that person you're making a big deal. Like, if they're upset, they're upset. Again, if I was her, petrol, my wig, makeup, my heels, like, I would be pissed. And I just love her honesty where she's like, listen, if I go out with you tonight, it's not gonna be a good day because I'm like that. So I like that she kept it real, but yeah, I just think they're bare different, like two different type of people.
Cancel a date due to lack of a reservation. So that just happened to my friend Jazzy. Jazzy, listen to your single friend podcast. She just went viral the other day because she was going on a first date with a guy and she had a 40-minute drive. By the time she got there, he told her there was going to be another 35-minute wait for the table. And she wasn't having it. She was like, yeah, that's a no for me. And he suggested walking around the mall to pass by the time. And she was like, that's a no for me. I'm going to go ahead home. Now, me personally, I think they both were in the wrong. To me, it's a misalignment in boundaries. I think Jazzy has every right to go home. Like, You didn't make a reservation. I'm going home. She has every right to do that. And I think, you know, I think he came up with a decent compromise. But again, if it was me, I wouldn't want to walk around the mall either, especially not Arundel Mills Mall, okay? That would not be an option for me. If I have on heels, I'm dressed up, I don't want to walk around the mall either. However, if a reservation was a requirement for her, I think she should have asked that. And I think that may be like nuanced of I shouldn't have to ask, but if that's something that's a make or break deal for you, then you should probably ask. I know she checked in on him the day of, like, hey, are we still good to meet? Are we still going on this date? I think a better question to ask would have been, hey, what time is the reservation for tonight? And if he probably would have followed up and said, hey, I didn't make a reservation because I've been to this place numerous times. And then she should have been like, hey, like, I'm not comfortable driving 40 minutes without a reservation. I would prefer to drive and be able to be seated immediately, because I don't like driving. I'm not a driver. I don't like driving. So that would be a requirement for me. I don't want to dilly-dally waiting for a table. So I think she should have voiced that, like, hey, after making this drive, I want to be ready to just go ahead and sit down. I just think it was, and she said it was like a lack of values and morals. I don't think it's that. I just think it's different. Everyone has different boundaries, and that's a boundary for her. She doesn't find that okay, and that's okay for her. She can have that boundary if she wants. Me personally, I would have said from jump, when is the reservation for? That would have been my question. And then that would have triggered the conversation of, oh, well, I didn't make a reservation. Hey, can you choose a place with a reservation so that by the time I get there, we can be seated immediately? I hate driving. That would have been a stressful drive for me. I would like to be seated immediately. But, they were eating my girl up in the comments. Be nice to Jazzy. Okay? Don't be mean to my girl. That's my friend. She has a right to have those boundaries. And he has a right to respond the way he does too. So let me know in the comments what y'all think.
Yeah, guys, don't be mean to her. Everyone's got their boundaries and their standards, but it makes you think, when people are communicating, texting, FaceTiming, whatever, it makes you think, what do you talk about? Because just like she broke down, it could have been a simple, oh, what time's the reservations booked for? I know as the woman, she doesn't want to be, because she didn't remember at the beginning, she didn't even want to message him, but because she didn't hear from him, she's like, I need to message him. He said it's been a busy morning, yada, yada, yada. You know what I mean? So definitely miscommunication, wires crossed. But see, she named it. Listen, I do not want to meet you and then walk around. Hello, my outfit. When your outfit's so tight and cute, it's for taking pictures, it's for sitting down, it's not for walking around the mall. And it sounds like this is a dead mall. Like, not all malls are good. And she said it like, not in these hills. I ain't walking nowhere. And like she stated, she hates driving. I hate driving to new places. As the woman said, parking was hard. That's why when I do go on dates, I'll go out. Like when I went out for my birthday, Uber. And that same Uber, I was almost in a car crash in. So sometimes it does like, right, I think I would have been safer if I drove. Crazy. But yeah, I'm with her. Going to new places, I don't like driving. Sometimes you have to pay for parking. Sometimes it's free. Sometimes there is no parking. So I just prefer to get an Uber. But yeah, I'm with her. Like, his wires just got crossed. But yeah, guys, to be kind, man. Be kind in the comments. Like, when it's not that deep, you don't need to be dragging her. And, you always get them people. You should be grateful that someone wants to date you, blah, blah, blah. It's literally the same with the whole coffee date where people just started dragging this woman. It's like, it's not that deep.
So I just got into a fight with my date and I just left. So
now listen, I'm not gonna comb my good sis neck too much, but I am gonna use this video contextually to help us understand. Sometimes we not flexible enough in dating, and I know this probably ain't what you want to hear, some of us, but I just gotta keep it a buck. Some of us ladies, we really be doing too much. We do. And some people, well, I'm not lowering my standards, and I'm not a standard is very different than a minor inconvenience. You conflate the two, and they're not the same. Okay? A man plans a date in this stitch video. He does not do a reservation, which would have been the preference of the woman in the video that I stitched. And she didn't like the fact that she had to wait. She felt like, I drove this far, I deserve to show up on a date where I could just walk in and sit down. And granted, I get it. Maybe that's what you do when you go on a date. Or maybe that's what you do in your everyday life when you go to a restaurant. You make sure you got a reservation because you don't want to wait. Cool. But to squash a whole date, to end a whole connection with somebody that obviously you liked enough to go on a date with, or be willing to go on a date with, you squashed a whole connection just because he didn't make a reservation. Because he said we gotta wait 30 minutes. We could just, let's walk around the mall or something, and you didn't like that. You're like, I don't know. Maybe because I was hungry, but I didn't want to walk around the mall. I want to do this. And sometimes, like, we be being a brat. We do. And as a person that is trying to get out of the bratty club, sometimes when I take a breath and I really be thinking about stuff in hindsight, I'm like, you know what? Maybe you was overreacting a little bit too much. Maybe you was. But when I think about the man that I'm dating now and the minor inconveniences or the preferences or things that I didn't like in the beginning that happened, and I'm like, dang, I would have really missed out on a connection with this person that I really love, like that I really care about, just because I was unwilling to be flexible. I don't understand it. I don't. In the Stitch video, the man was even willing to leave from his side of a town, drive 40 minutes to her side of town, and go somewhere that she likes because he still wanted to continue the date. And I'm gonna tell you something. A man that like you will do that. A man that don't like you don't. He would have been like, F you be, and been like, don't care. Wouldn't have cared. Probably would have told you stupid or said all types of stuff. But he liked you enough. And then even after she was frustrated, this man still was calling and texting her, trying to make it right. Even screenshot and told her, hey, you had a right to be upset. Totally right to be upset. But I told you, like, the reservation, like, we're ready. Our table's ready now. I told you it wasn't going to take that long. But she crossed her arms and just, walked away and went. And now you done had a dinner at Publix because you wanted to be a brat and go sit on your couch. And here's the thing. When you're dating, you're not going to get everything that I'm laughing inside because I sound like my freaking therapist. You're not going to get everything you want. You're not. You're just not. There are definitely things that are my preferences that I can see. My boyfriend now, there's things that he does that he probably wouldn't normally have done. And I'm like, oh, it's sweet. It's very sweet, Because when you love and you care somebody, you make adjustments. You do. But I've also had to make adjustments as well. We are both busy individuals. And I have children. And sometimes the dates are going to be spontaneous. And sometimes I'm going to say, hey, the kids will be, gone this date, and I really would like a date. And he'll plan a date. Gee willikers. Every time we go on a date, it's not always going to be the way that I want it, or even in this instance, the way that she wants it. And I get understanding, sometimes we be on these tiki-takis, listening to these relationship guru people, listening to people in our lives, and people be playing in our face maybe, and it just makes us go way on the other end of the spectrum and just be doing too much. We really do. We be doing too much. Life is full of inconveniences. And the thing is, when let's say you get in a relationship with this guy, are you gonna, and you guys are boyfriend, girlfriend, if he doesn't make a reservation every time, are you telling me that y'all gonna break up, or you're gonna, be upset with him every time if he doesn't make a reservation? Does he always have to make a reservation? I can see you being upset about, deal breaker things, For me personally, one of my deal breakers is you have to be a believer. You have to be. I can't do nothing with nobody that don't believe in the Lord. I can't do nothing with nobody that ain't got a prayer life. I tried. Can't do it. Okay? That's a deal breaker for me. But somebody not make a reservation, I don't even want to say this because I know my boyfriend gonna eat this up. Somebody not buying me flowers all the time. I want him to buy me flowers more because I know you're gonna watch this. I want more flowers. But I'm not gonna break up with him because he doesn't buy me flowers every time he sees me. That's just ridiculous to me. We be doing too much. I'm looking for somebody that's my person for the rest of my life. And with that, especially with me being, I was married for 14 years. You think that man did everything I wanted him to do every time? Hell no. Hell no. But for the time that we were together and the time that our relationship worked, I was happy. We be doing too much. I'm sorry, friends.
Yeah, shout out to that woman, and she spoke facts. I pretty much agree with everything she said. Like, no one's perfect, so there are gonna be hiccups, and not everything's gonna, especially for your first date, not everything's gonna go well. Again, it's just simple that your wires got crossed, but I do agree, some ladies, we be doing too much. Like, literally, that man could have been her future husband, and just because he didn't book a reservation, she spun around, she did a whole U-turn, and she's like, I'm going back home. And the fact that he was making an effort and he's like, all right, I'll come, I'll drive to you because, you know, you've drove all this way and, you know, I did this by mistake or I didn't do this, you know what I mean? But like she said, a lot of these you know what I mean? And what is it? YNs and all these youngers, they would be cussing you out in a heartbeat. You know, I did that whole video of when men can't take rejection. If you've not seen it, do check it out. And they'll go from asking you wow and complimenting me like, oh, you're so beautiful, you have nice eyes too, bitch, you ain't all that. You ugly. You should be happy I'm even moving to you. And it's just like, it's the U turn for me. Like, huh? So she is lucky that this guy was still making an effort. He obviously really likes you, and he didn't start calling you outside your name like people are in the comments dragging this woman. But yeah, some women use were wanting the whole world for the first date, and it's just like, no. I like that she touched on that she has kids, so she's a divorcee and she has kids. Life be life in. You girly, I'm a single mother, and I tell men straight away, listen, sometimes I might be out with you and then I have to rush off because I've got a phone call from one of, you know what I mean, from the school. Doctors, like anything can happen. That's what happens when you're like my kids come first, you know what I mean? So I like that she spoke on that. Soon as she's free, child free, be spontaneous. Yeah, are you free tonight? Let's go out. Even if it's something simple, it doesn't have to be expensive and over the top. But yeah, being a single parent, you do have to be spontaneous. You might get a sitter. They might be with their dad or with their mom. I like that. Like life be life. In 1 minute, I might be like, oh, I can't make it, and then next, I'll be like, you know, I can make it. For me, it's like always have your passport ready. Someone, your good friend, your spouse, your partner could pop up and be like, "Do you want to fly here this weekend?" And it's like, "Yeah." You know what I mean? You don't want to like not have a passport or your passport not being in date because you're like, "Oh, I've got nowhere booked." Sometimes you can find like a really cheap flight. The weather's good, money's there, you've got spending money, and you just want to be spontaneous and just go away for the weekend. So I agree with her. There's nothing better than being spontaneous. Is the day always going to go to plan? Absolutely not, because life be life in. You ain't perfect, so neither is he going to be perfect. But yeah, ladies, it's not drop your boundaries or, you know, your standards, but just be more mindful and more open. Okay, he didn't book reservations, but halfway when you was going back home, the table was ready. Again, reservations, it varies. It depends how popping the place is. You could be waiting the whole 35 minutes, or you could wait 20 minutes, 5 minutes. It just varies. There's been times where I've been sat and then they're like, they come back over in like 5 minutes, like, oh, your table, like, there's a table free. You know what I mean? So yeah, I agree with her.
So I just got into a fight with my date and I just left. So
So for those of you who haven't seen that video, that young lady, listen to your single friend, is her tag, said that she left a date because the gentleman did not make a reservation at the restaurant. Her standard and her practice is if you ask her out on a date, she wants you to make a reservation. The problem with that is she didn't communicate. And too often we have these requirements of people that we don't communicate. These uncommunicated expectations have to stop. You're not going to have a successful dating life. You're not going to have a successful relationship and or marriage if that is what you desire for your relationship's end goal. If you can't communicate your expectations, your husband might not take out the trash on Tuesday nights. However, if you don't communicate that with him, then it should not be a problem. Anything that you feel, need, desire, want, don't expect men to be able to read your mind. Now, if you communicate your expectations and they can't fulfill them or don't fulfill them, then that's something else. But don't expect this man to be a mind reader. How would he know that your standard and practice is you have to make a reservation from what she said was just a few conversations after they met on a dating site? They had not even had an hour's worth of conversation, and he didn't even call to confirm the date the day of, but you expected him to make a reservation for you. And then when he asked her, hey, I apologize, where can we go on your side of town? She was upset because he didn't know the restaurants on her side of town. We got to reset our expectations, people. If you want a successful relationship, friendship, sisterhood, whatever that is, you got to tell people what you expect and not throw them away and have zero grace when you are an ineffective communicator.
Yeah, I agree with that woman. Like when were communicating and talking on socials, what were you talking about? Because it really come like they don't know each other really. I get it, it's the first date, but before you meet up with someone, you're talking for a bit. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like you do need to express your do's and don'ts. So again, like the woman said previously, if you just simply popped up and like, oh babe, remind me again what time's the reservation set for, and then that's when he would have told you, I've not booked no reservation, and then he probably would have been like, I go to this restaurant often. They usually just sit you down when you get there. And then that's when you could have been like, oh, can you just book reservations? Just, because that's what I like. I feel comfortable going to somewhere knowing reservations are booked. That's our table. So I agree with her. Please, we need communication. This is why a lot of marriages and things are breaking down because there's just no, even my relationship, I was engaged. So my relationship altogether, it was like 14 years. Our communication was trash. So I agree with her wholeheartedly. Like communication is key. Forget the sex and all the other stuff and buying flowers and all. Communication is key. You literally need to be on the same page. He didn't understand me. Most of the time, I didn't understand him. I'm expressing myself, and he just didn't get it and thought I was overreacting just with the way the man thinks she's overreacting. Yous are just not meant to be. You know what I mean? That's how it just came down. Like our communication was just out the window. Again, a lot of marriages, breakdowns. That's what happens. Not her saying if you want the man to take the trash out on Tuesdays, let it be known. You know what I mean? Don't get vexed and huffing and puffing like, oh, you missed the bin, man. You need to listen. Men think different to women. You need to remind them about like everything. So even her speaking to him that morning, like, oh, I've not heard from you. Are we still good? Yeah, we're good. Sorry, I've been busy. And that's when she would have been like, so what time's the table booked for again? And then that's when he would have been like, all right, book no table. And it's like, huh? So definitely communication is key.
Ladies, the biggest red flag when dating in 2025 is a man that requires you to wait on him. Wait for what? If we gotta wait, then we can't date. If you need time to get ready, then we can't go steady. If you are unprepared, then I'm prepared to walk my ass out of your life. How many men have fumbled the biggest blessings in their life because they was unready to catch it? And guess what happens to that blessing? You get dropped. Waiting for a man to get ready for a relationship in 2025 is y'all version of being thirsty. Every time you sit yourself on the sideline, waiting for a man to get prepared to be in the game, you are thirsting. Every time you allow a man to take you off the dating shelf and put you on layaway, you are being thirsty for a man. Y'all be like, well, good things come to those who wait. Wait for a ready then. Think about how oxymoronic this is. I'm dating actively to find a woman that once I find her, she has to wait for me to get ready for her. How oxymoronic is that? And how moronic are you for believing that? This is why y'all drowning, man. Cause y'all believe in these in the dating pool and they can't even swim. Why the fuck are you at the dating pool if you can't swim?
Yes, ladies. So that's dating in 2025. And listen, I agree. Like, even some men that I've talked to, you can tell they're dealing with a lot. They've got some trauma. I've been in therapy this year. Please go and seek therapy, get some counseling, book yourself into the gym for a spa. You need that self love. I hate when people are still going through stuff, but then they're trying to date, and it's just like, you're not ready. You're really not ready. I know you want to be loved and you want someone to cuddle up with and go out with. Find your friends. But listen, you're not ready to date. But yeah, guys, that's it for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think this woman had the right to do a whole U-turn and go back home? Or do you think she overreacted? But yeah, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe and share. Stay safe. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye.